Hello, Aisha too. Aisha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mwanzu.
Yeah. I'm online, but I will give me like 3 minutes. I will free. I think
Okay.
most of us, yeah, are
We,
fine.
we, we will start at 5 minutes past 5 p.m. GMT.
All right, all right.
Thank you. Hello, and thank you to the new attendees that have joined us. We will be starting in 1 minute. That's 5:05 p.m. Thank you for your patience. Evening, everyone, and welcome to this second online consultation organized by AfricTivistes in partnership with Oxfam West Africa. Within the framework of the project that was launched in September, which is the AfricTivistes Youth Initiatives Mapping. So the goal of the project is to document all initiatives that have been, rolled out by young people to contribute to the fight against COVID. And this is a way to document what has been done and also to show that young people have this transformative power and their capacity to make things happen, but also to collaborate with public authorities, be it at a local and a central level. My name is Aisha Dabo. I am the projects coordinator of AfricTivistes. Today, we are having this webinar with a number of panelists who have actually contributed a lot in building they're young people, and also they've done a lot in their own capacity. I will begin by introducing the different panelists with a short biography, and I'll give them the opportunity to unmute and greet the participants. So I just want to remind the attendees that the participant that you can raise your hand if you have a questions, and you can use the Q&A question and answers that you see on the chat to ask your questions as well or share your contributions. And I also want to state that this session is being recorded, and right now it's being live streamed on the AfricTivistes page on Facebook. I want to thank our Oxfam partners who have joined the call. That is Simon Trépanier and Ima. I think she just logged out, but hopefully she will come back soon. So I'll start with Fatou Dabo, who is a youth and gender activist with great focus on girls in STEM. She's a maintenance technician and co-owner of Make 3D Company Limited in the Gambia. That's the first and only commercial 3D printing company in the country. Make 3D has been one of the most essential businesses in the fight against COVID in the Gambia by partnering with the Medical Research Council Unit, that's MRC in the Gambia, at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine to produce and test 3D printed protective gears, laboratory and medical equipment as part of the country's COVID response. Hi, Juka, and welcome.
Hello, Aisha. Thank you for having us.
So after introducing Juka, I'll introduce Mwanzu Alhaji Modu, who is a recipient of the prestigious Mandela Fellowship, Washington Fellowship, and winner of the 2020 African Union Top 20 Best Innovation on Democracy and Governance and 30 Most Inspiring Digital Innovation 2020, that's MIDI 2020, on SDGs. Mwanzu has over 6 years of professional experience in social accountability, community mobilization, gender, and climate action. Currently, Mwanzu is a founder and chief executive officer at Spotlight for Transparency and Accountability Initiative, which is an NGO on empowering rural communities with information to demand for accountability and transparency using social accountability model, citizen-led tracking. Welcome, Mwanzu.
Hi, thank you for having us this evening.
So now I will introduce Musa Sule Damagum. He graduated from the University of Wolverhampton in UK. I hope I pronounced it well. With an MSc in computer-aided design in 2013, he worked as program manager, presidential committee on the Northeast between 2016 and 2019. He currently works as coordinator, focal point at Yobe State Coordination Office for SDGs. His role is to help the state government mainstream sustainable development goals into development planning and budgeting. Right now, he's leading the government's initiative to fight poverty among the young population through vocational and entrepreneurial skills development. Through the initiative, they have reached over 300 young unemployed youth with bespoke training programs, take up grants and business support. So welcome, Mr. Musa. Actually, Yobe State is in Nigeria, for those who don't know. Mr. Musa, I think we've lost him. He will hopefully come back soon. And last but not the least, I would like to introduce Mar Nyang, who is the founder and executive director of Gambia Participates, which was established as an inspiration from the Yali Tech Camp Ghana 2016. Sorry for the noise, wrong timing. The organization's works around promoting transparency and accountability, elections, rural community development, and digital government. Ma introduced the Gambia Participate project in Gambia to mobilize citizens to participate in the 2016 elections that saw a transition and ended the rule of Yahya Jammeh, who was a dictator. He also introduced the Follow the Money in partnership with Connected Development to fight against corruption. And Follow the Money actually has been recognized by the IMF as an initiative that is well aligned with IMF objectives of promoting good governance. Welcome, Mark. Manyang? Okay. I think we've lost Mar. So I will start the discussion because we just have 1 hour. And I want to ask Juka, what do you think sparked the civic engagement and civic awareness actually but noted during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially among young people?
Thank you, Aisha. Again, thank you for having me today. And for me, I will speak on a very personal level and the level of my company. When it comes to civic engagement in the Gambia, I believe what sparked it during the coronavirus pandemic has to do with the previous experience when it comes to Ebola. Even though the Gambia was not very severely hit with Ebola, we were so prepared and we had a lot of activities with engagement, youth engagement, and people knew what the precautions were, guidelines to deal with to prevent themselves from Ebola. And so when coronavirus came, it felt like it was the Ebola season all over again. And people were ready, they knew what the guidelines were. And it took time. We heard about coronavirus even before it hit Gambia. And it took like 2-3 months and people were prepared. Also the sense of community and society being one. You see in Gambia, a lot of people live together and they have families close to them. And since coronavirus is a virus that was transmitted fast within families and communities, everyone took it personally, and this was why young people were encouraged and empowered to actually get up and say, okay, this is coming, and if it hits me, it hits my family, or it hits my sister and immediate neighbors. So everyone was ready, and that was what sparked the youth engagement and civic engagement when coronavirus happened. So everyone just took it personally and were ready to make sure everyone knew what was happening and participate willingly.
Thank you, Juka. I asked the question because the world is asking actually, how did Africa made it? We don't have many cases compared to other continents. So I'll ask the same question to Mwanzu, who I know has a lot to share on that.
Well, good evening once again. What really we take into consideration is that considering the fact that the majority of African youths are energetic, creative, and innovative, and they are always looking, working around the clock to provide solutions to problems. But in many cases, putting their ideas into the action is the problem. So having an idea is the one thing, and then putting idea into action in another thing. So during the COVID-19, when the COVID-19 hits the world, or maybe the Africa, when you start to realizing that we have the innovative ideas on how to solve problems. How can we gonna use this innovative approaches to solve these pandemic that become a problem to the world. During the mapping this year, youth initiative, I will like amaze and see different approach and methodology in solving the problem that are affecting communities. I come across a group of young people who are doing work around designs. So when the COVID-19 pandemic hit Nigeria, that the government imposed a lockdown across some major cities. When the government imposed that curfew lockdown in the cities, we realized that the cases of gender-based violence has significantly increased, or maybe like increase in those communities that was lockdown imposed. Then these young people they just came up with the idea that how can we as a young Nigerians able to provide solutions to this problem, or kind of do something around this increase of the cases of gender-based violence. They come up with the idea of developing a web database that can be like data bank for all the cases of gender-based violence that is happening around the country, so that the government and the decision maker may get the exact figure of what is really happening. There is a lot of other initiatives that, like, it was really amazing that when you see those kind of initiatives, you will be like, start thinking how these young people are able to put all this together to do to combat this COVID-19. I will in near future I will share a lot of stories around this work of the young people in that I've done during the COVID-19 and ready to scale up this this initiative in their communities.
Thank you, Mwanzo. And actually, when Mwanzo talked about mapping the youth initiatives, he was referencing the AfricTivistes Mapping Youth Initiatives that we are currently rolling out, actually in collaboration with Oxfam West Africa, which are our partners, and who are also on the call. We will give them the opportunity to intervene later on. Mar Nyang is back with us, and Mar, I'll ask you the same question. What do you think sparked this mobilization we witnessed, and we continue to witness actually during COVID-19, because we are going to talk about how to sustain things, but it's important also to recall where we're coming from. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Aisha. Sorry, the internet just get me in and out, but that's a very fantastic question, and I will be very happy to answer that particular question. I mean, I think the reason why there has been a lot of mobilization and civic awareness during this COVID-19 is because of, should I say, people get to see the gravity of COVID-19 because it's a life and death matter, and as a result, in order to save life, people have to go and then be desensitized and then, inform people about the danger of this virus. Having been, we have other issues around this end that have been seen as a life and death matter, then we will have been taking serious measures just like we are taking during this COVID-19 pandemic. So since everyone likes to be alive and you don't want none of your family members to, pass the bucket, or, should I say, you don't want to lose any of your family members, you keep telling your family members that these are the things that you're supposed to do. Don't come home without washing your hands. Don't sneeze in front of, or don't cough in my presence. You have to cover yourself and do one or two things. And then even our kids, right? We have this notion that in this 21st century, we have not been building up our kids the way they're supposed to be built up. But during this pandemic, we've seen parents telling kids what to do and what not to do just to save themselves and to save their children as well. So that's because this has been seen as a life and death matter. And the reason why it has been seen as a life and death matter is because information has been given out timely. The number of people that have been dying in a day, the number of cases that have been registered in a day, this scares people. And if it scares people, people take the necessary precautions to save themselves and their loved ones. And as a result, the media as well. The media also play a huge role in making sure that the civic awareness, or the civic education during this pandemic is sustained. Because every now and then, in fact, there is a specific portion in each TV, most of the TV, whereby there's going to be an information on COVID-19 being shared. And as the numbers keep coming, it keeps scaring people. So let's say, for example, in the area that I work on, in the area of corruption, hadn't been every day, we give number of people that dies due to corruption and the number of people that starve to death due to corruption. then we will have taken it seriously. So I believe that's one of the reasons why there's this massive mobilization and civic education all around the country. I mean, we have more deadly viruses, and should I say we have more deadly pandemic than that of the COVID-19. I mean, in other countries where you have kids who do not even have access to potable drinking water, and they are dying every now and then. There has not been much civic education on that, and we've been turning around from that particular end. COVID-19 is deadly, and it is not going to be, we pray it's not going to be here to stay. And as a result, as we are finding vaccine to COVID-19, we should also find vaccine to starvation. We should also find vaccine to corruption. We should also find vaccine to reducing poverty. So if we bring all this together, then we will be able to see a world where it is going to be inclusive, and then everyone is going to live peacefully.
Thank you, Ma. Those are important points and important call to actions, actually. And we cannot do that alone, or young people can't do that alone without, the authorities, be it at the local or central level. So before getting to talk about the authorities, I just want to mention that Musa Souley, who is from the public sector, he's having technical issues. So hopefully he will join us again very soon. So few minutes ago, Mwanzo was talking about all these initiatives, successful ones, especially the web the database actually on gender-based violence, which increased during the pandemic. And this is something that hopefully will be sustained because it's useful. And he also mentioned earlier about the need to move from idea to action. So I want to ask Juka if you have a specific example, because you are from the private sector and you collaborated with the research institute to contribute to the COVID-19 fight. So can you give us an example of success, be it you during your collaboration with MRC or another organization that you have watched in the Gambia?
Okay, Aisha, when we started, before coronavirus hit, that was just when we started our company and we were fairly new. So let's say with government, we could not really, it was kind of challenging to collaborate with government then, because government has standards, they have guidelines that they always have to use, and they did not really, our technology, 3D printing, is fairly new in the Gambia, and a lot of government officials did not understand it properly. So we had to collaborate with UN agencies and other NGOs and research centers. So through these research centers, we were able to penetrate the government officials, because as we were here to provide solutions, we had to come in with medical devices or products that are used in the medical field. And we came up with PPEs and face shields. Mostly that was the most popular product that we did. So we were able to penetrate government because there was a shortage in the supply chain completely, and so many products were not getting here. So one of our biggest successes was that we were able to produce in the country, and we did not have to wait for supplies to get here from other countries that were also hoarding their own supplies. Because at the end of the day, every country needs supplies within, because of the issue of shipping, because of the issues of flights being stopped. And we were able to do this with the help of MRC and other UN agencies. So we were able to get through them. We were able to get our standards. We were able to know exactly what was needed in the country. And that's how we were able to step up and bring on solutions. And now I can say everyone knows what we do. A lot of people think we are just a company producing face shields, but this was just something that shows what the power of the technology is and how we can change our company within a very short period of time and respond to issues that are happening. So let's say we have the pandemic now, and that's what we have. So face shields were what was needed. But if something else happens, local businesses and doing other things, we can always move from producing face shields to producing other things that people need. And this is what we understand that a lot of Gambians, including government and government institutions, got to understand. So let's say something is not always about collaborating government or directly with government, but through other agencies, you can always penetrate the government and they can know. So we're able, because most of the things we produce actually ended up being used by community and by the government. So this is the biggest success we had during the collaborations.
Thank you, Juka. And we have Mr. Musa Sule, who is back online. Juka was just talking about they had, because the 3D company or 3D was not understood and they had initial difficulties collaborating with the government. So they collaborated with research institutes and in the end worked with government, because government has standards, has procedures, etc., that made the collaboration a little bit difficult. Mr. Musa, I would want you to talk about how your department was able to collaborate with young youth organizations or NGOs to contribute to the fight against COVID.
Well, okay, thank you, everybody. Actually, I'm on transit, but I think I can say one or two things regarding what we've been doing in our department to promote collaboration with government in the fight against COVID-19. Actually, we partner with civil society organizations, especially the youth organizations, to support them with the basic safety items and the face masks and all of that. But I think most importantly, I would like to see more collaboration between government and civil society organizations. And then government should be able to open up its programs for collaboration with civil society organizations, so that there will be a bridge, between the citizens and the government. So far, we have run a series of
Mr. Musa?
Advocacy programs, especially the Almajiri communities. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it went off 2 seconds ago.
Okay, the network is pretty bad here.
Yeah, and it seems like there's you're around a radio. If the radio can be turned off, we would hear you better.
Okay, am I clear now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was saying we are partnering with youth organizations to reach communities, especially the Almajiris. The Almajiris are the traditional Quranic scholars in our communities in the state, and then we reach them with sensitization and advocacy, and also support them with safety items like face masks, hand washing machines, and all of that. And then we also collaborate with relevant government agencies to drive some of these programs in the community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musa Sule, for that contribution. Yeah. Now I would like to ask Madam Yang about collaboration between CSO and government, be it local government or central government in the Gambia. Ma?
Thank you, Jika. So what we have done during this pandemic, after the government made announcement that they're going to be allocating $500 million towards COVID-19 response, like we always do, the first thing that we did was to engage the Minister of Finance to get information about that particular $500 million. Unfortunately, Gambia is known of not sharing expenditure, reports outside to the civil society organization or the media. Is really uncommon. But what we did, despite all that, we believe the officers on the ground are the ones that really matters. So what we have done, we traveled to rural Gambia, and then we started engaging health officials on the ground, frontline health officials on the ground, and they were very much willing to give information, because you have to know during this pandemic, if you withhold information, lives are going to be at risk. It is only when you get to know the situation and the current status quo that's when you are going to be able to use that particular information and then translate them to action, to policies, to programs in order to effectively respond to the pandemic. So we went, as I said, we engaged frontline health workers, both at the National Public Health Laboratory, where we got key information that we are really not known to the public. And then also we went to identify treatment centers. I mean, should I say identify so-called treatment centers? And then we get to understand, I mean, these are the treatment centers that have been identified to treat COVID-19 patients in rural Gambia and also in urban Gambia. So we decided to, engage officials or frontline health officials in these particular identified treatment centers. And then we get to know the status of that particular identified treatment centers. They actually don't have no materials that can actually effectively help them to respond to COVID-19. So the moment we got that information and then also engage their governors and then the regional health directorate, we have a one-on-one discussion with them and then get to understand how prepared they are in responding to COVID-19. And once we got that information, we also decided to have a focus group discussion with the constituents and then get to know their perception and how they believe that particular treatment center in their particular region or community is ready to respond to COVID-19. Should there be an outbreak, or let's say should there be more cases recorded in their particular region? So I will give you one example, and I believe I should be able to share the video link regarding the documentary that we have done on documenting these particular treatment centers. So I'll give the farthest region in the Gambia, that is the Upper River region. We went to this community, and then we met the CEO, and then this CEO was very willing to share information because the health center was not really to respond to COVID-19, and it's a referral hospital in a whole region. And in the whole region, where you in this health center where you have 126 staff, you get to see that the government only served them with 6 hand sanitizers. So can you imagine when you have 126 staff and you only serve with 6 sanitizers? That is in fact not enough to protect the health workers, talk less of those that are coming to the health center. And then we also realized that they don't have. Electricity is also one of the issues that they were facing with, because there was an electricity outbreak, so let's say a shock that was caused by the National Water and Electricity Company, a notorious company that is known of destroying appliances both in the public and the private sector and individual houses. They destroy their appliances, and as a result, they don't have a scanning machine. They actually don't have no medical equipment that was going to be ready for operation or any other thing that they should have been doing. So when we get this information out, I wouldn't say that it's because of the documentary that's the reason why they were. We saw the government procuring medical equipment worth $100 million. $2 million, right? That is about $100 million. I wouldn't say it's because of our documentary, but what I would like to say is it has raised a lot of eyebrows where the 500 million was going to be spent on. And since that documentary was out, as I said, I don't want to take credit, or I don't want my organization to take credit of what has happened, but we have seen the government coming up with materials. We have adequate ambulances that are effectively responding to COVID-19. They have procured ventilators, oxygen machines, and the like. So, information was key at this point. And we did not get the collaboration, to answer to your question, from the people that really matters, the frontline health worker that really matters, then it was not going to be possible for us as a watchdog organization or civil society to inform the public and the government and their donors regarding the current status quo of our health facilities. Because right now, the focus has been shifted. All the capital development that's supposed to be done in our communities, the roads, the boreholes, the whatever development that's supposed to come to our community have been shifted. Priorities have been shifted from these developments to health. So meaning our health system was very fragile, and as a result, this will also serve as a lesson for our government all around Africa to be on an alert that whenever whenever a pandemic or an epidemic hits your country, you should be vigilant enough. Your health system should be vigilant enough to effectively respond to it. So the collaboration was really strong at the local level. And then one of the things that we have also seen is once we published our report findings, I believe 2 weeks after that, we saw the Minister of Health who went to the National Assembly, and exactly what we have reported, that's exactly what have been said, what he has reported at the National Assembly regarding this corrupt issues that have been surrounding the COVID-19 force. Again, I don't want to take credit that it's because of our report that has been made the Minister of Health to make that announcement or report at the National Assembly, but the timing shows an impact of that particular work that civil society have done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, civil society are watchdogs as well, like the media. So I just want to remind people that have joined us that we are discussing how do we sustain the civic engagement and civic awareness that was or it's still being witnessed during the COVID-19 pandemic in African countries. And I also want to remind that this is part of the online citizen consultations that AfricTivistes is holding as part of its AfricTivistes Youth Initiatives Mapping that was launched in September, and that is being rolled out in partnership with Oxfam West Africa. So I will give the floor to Mwanzu, who will also talk about collaboration with government, before giving the floor to three project initiators. These three projects were mapped by the AfricTivistes project, and we'll give the floor to the project members actually, who would share the experience of how they worked during the COVID and how they collaborated with government. So Mwanzu, the floor is yours. Mwanzu, you are on mute.
Okay, yeah. So I have almost most of the project that we mapped during the AfricTivistes Youth Mapping, directly or indirectly collaborating with the government in implementing the project. But I will talk about, since the two keys are already here, I will talk about another two projects that was directly collaborating with the government. The first project is that in partnership with Clean Foundation, one of the organization is like monitoring the activities of security personnel across, when the COVID-19 lockdown imposed in Nigeria, there's a lot of increase in the security brutality. A lot of people has been killed due to the incompliance with the COVID-19 lockdown. So for that reason, these young people decided to monitor the activities of security personnel in the across Nigeria. As part of this project and this monitoring, the initiative understand that there is a serious personal protective equipment shortage when it comes to security personnel. They are at the front line, but they are not using any of the personal protective equipment, be it hand washing, hand sanitizer, or face masks. So as part of this initiative, they decided to provide the COVID-19 safety guidelines, personal protective equipment such as the face masks and hand washing points, and finally hand sanitizers. Another initiative that directly engage with the government, collaborate with the government, is they are like tracking the implementation of or maybe the COVID-19 palliatives. When the COVID-19 hit, the pandemic hit Nigeria, Nigerian government, philanthropies, state governments, and other institutions decided to invest a lot of money in terms of palliatives to the citizen, because considering the fact that the level of the poverty in Nigeria, you can't ask people to stay at home without food. So, and then also considering the fact that the level of corruption in Nigeria, we know that this kind of investment will maybe go to private pocket instead of the real beneficiary, which is people that are vulnerable to hunger. So we decided to, in partnership with our mother organization, Connected Development, we decided to initiate what is called Follow the COVID-19 Spending. It's primarily to track the implementation or maybe distribution and tracking the implementation of money that's been allocated for this providing palliatives and maybe other health equipment to be supplied in Nigeria. And thank God, in Yobe State, we have been able to, specifically where I am, we have been able to have a meeting with the key government officials that include chairman COVID-19 response team, and as well as the chairman of the COVID-19 palliative distribution, where we've been able to access the information from the government institution around number of people that has been benefited from the palliative COVID-19 palliative distribution, the methodology they are using in selecting the people in the vulnerable communities, as well as the amount of palliatives they are given to the vulnerable people.
Thank you very much, Mwanzu. Now I will want to introduce actually one of the project initiators. Her name is Fatima Habib. She's the founder actually of Advocacy for Human Value Foundation, which is a non-for-profit organization that aims on improving the lives of the most vulnerable by providing them with basic needs such as water, sanitation and hygiene, healthcare services, protection and education. Through the years, they've reached thousands of people in different communities. And during the COVID pandemic, they introduced the use of conversational media to raise awareness among communities about on the COVID-19. And that has actually helped many community members to be able to, respect and uphold the barrier measures. Also, Fatima actually is an undergraduate at the University of Maiduguri, and she uses social media influence to advocate and seek assistance for the most vulnerable. She set up her NGO actually at the age of 14. Well done. She's a Yali alumni, 2018 cohort 10. And she recently represented Nigeria among 380 countries at the Ally for Future program, which was held in Turkey. Some of her achievements include Nigeria Goodwill Ambassador and the youngest humanitarian in Northern Nigeria. She's someone who believes that we need opportunity to showcase our potentials, but if we don't find one, we create. I love that. So Fatima, tell us about what you did actually during the COVID-19 in the North, and how you collaborated with the government, be it local or central government.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Fatima Mohammed Hadib. So when the coronavirus pandemic hit us in Nigeria, we never expected it. We thought it was from the other side of the world, and then we thought it wasn't coming to us. But then we were not really prepared for it, especially us living in Maiduguri, Borno State, where the insurgency is. So when it came, our people are considered those who are not into school. They don't go to school, they don't do things, but we have schools, but it's not of use. So we needed something that will make them to understand what this coronavirus is, because obviously you won't just ask somebody who is a refugee to sit down at home and not do anything. They don't even have home to sit in or lock them in. So we needed to enlighten them in such kind of things. So instead, we sat down. I think that, okay, we are not allowed to go out to go and meet them and tell them, okay, this coronavirus is that, and this is what the challenges you can face when you have the virus, you can die of it and stuff like that. So instead, we thought and sat and think that, okay, in order to tackle that problem, you need to have like in Nigeria, we have this thing for entertainment. They like entertainment. So we need to sit and think of a way where we can bring entertainment into the enlightenment, where we sat and think of the radio, how we can enlighten them through radio, through music, and through films. We started developing with the radio. We started singing. We look for singers who can sing and tell people what the coronavirus is all about, because some of them don't know English. They don't understand English or any language. They only can understand Hausa, our local language, which are Hausa, Kanuri, and some of them can understand Shua. So we needed people who can do that to sing for them, and they will understand what that is all about. Where we also introduce the method in which you can learn English through the radio station, where you can understand what things are, what the world is going through, how the insurgency is affecting you, and how you can take advantage of this insurgency. That was what we did during the coronavirus pandemic. And then we started distributing palliatives for them, can provide food and stuff for them. That was when we collaborated with the government, because the government cannot do it alone. They need people like us. They need CSOs where they can help them to do such kind of things, because we are more closer to the people. We are the ones who understand what the people are facing, the challenges those people are facing. That was what we did during the coronavirus pandemic.
Aisha, you are on mute. Aisha, you are on mute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Fatima. I will move to Sadia. And Sadia, I will introduce you, and then we will move quickly, because we have to get to the recommendation and give also participants an opportunity to ask questions or share their contribution. So Sadia Murtala is an advocate for women's economic empowerment. She is the founder and current executive director of Weekend Africa Initiative, a youth-led organization that empowers women and marginalized groups through programs on vocational and life skill training, entrepreneurial soft skills training, ICT, etc. She is a youth fellow of Margaret Ekpo. She holds an undergraduate degree, Bachelor of Science, from the Bayero University in Kano, where she graduated with upper second class in mass communication. So I will be asking you the same question as I asked Fatima. Can you tell us about your collaboration with the government? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that introduction. Sorry, it's really dark here, and I just had my lightning on. Is that okay?
Yes, it works. We can see you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So we at Weekend Africa Initiative, we believe so much in collaboration. And that is why during at the height of the pandemic, what we did was to work with the district head of Komboso local government in Kano. That's the northwestern part of Nigeria, because we understand very well, because we're actually reaching out to very hard to reach communities. And we understand that these communities, they can actually not give you a listening ear if they don't know you. You have to be an influencer. And we are coming as a stranger. So when we went there, because at first we actually went to a household, we met these women, we met different families, trying to tell them more about COVID-19, the preventive measures, how they can actually prevent themselves from the virus. But they were actually not cooperating with us. We had to go back, re-strategize, and also plan and think through what went wrong. So we understood that one of the reason why these communities were actually not being very cooperative was because they were not familiar with us, and they had no trust for us. So we had to meet the district head of Komboso local government, speak to him on a personal level, to help us create that rapport, that relationship with community members. So that really helped us in trying to do the sensitization program. So he helped us in speaking to them, speaking to these community members, that they should give us listening ears, and also they should cooperate as much as they can to see that we are able to achieve our aim. So with the help of the district head, we're able to bring these community members, converge them in one place, still following the NCDC protocols. We converge them in one place, and we're able to tell them, sensitize them about COVID-19. And also in our process of sensitizing them, we now understand that these people are really not interested in the COVID-19. And it really got to us, because we know the danger in COVID-19. We had to ask them that, okay, what do you want? What do you think can actually work? And they hope to us to say that they understand that COVID-19 is real. And that's one thing I really appreciate about them. But the fact is that they can't just keep them at home doing nothing. The government is not being supportive. No one is being supportive to them. And the only means of their livelihood is for them to go out and for a means of living. And they are being locked down in the house. So we asked them again, what do you want us to do? They said they understood very well that one measures in curbing the COVID-19 is the use of hand sanitizer, that they want us to teach them how to locally make hand sanitizer. And then we had to bring in an expert that taught them how to make hand sanitizer, which in a bigger way, we are actually strengthening their market. And before you know, they were producers of hand sanitizer, which they started distributing hand sanitizer to schools and also to local vulnerable traders in Kano State. So basically, our collaboration with public sector has been with the district head of Kumboso, which has really supported us in trying to make community members to believe us, to have that trust in what we are saying, and also to believe in the existence of COVID-19. So that's how we involve community members in trying to curb the virus by taking them through several trainings on how to locally produce hand sanitizer and also face masks. Thank you. So the lesson I'm going to say I learned, the lesson and also the challenges we had in our sensitization program was the fact that we actually at the initial stage, we actually went to household directly. And when we were doing this, we noticed that we are actually not achieving the end result, what we wanted. These community members were not listening to us. They don't even believe us. It's almost like for them to just chase us out of the community. So we had to go back and think and re-strategize what is wrong, what is not right. So we understand that we need to build relationship. Building relationship and rapport it's very paramount in whatever development that you're bringing to any community. So it's just for we to go and think through all these community members, who did they trust, who did they rely on, and then we now realize that, okay, we can actually meet the district head of state. So for me, that's actually a big lesson for me to learn that you don't just go to community like that because you already have the knowledge and you feel what you're going to give out to the community is actually something good. So it's better you actually come through somebody they know, through somebody they believe, like through an influencer. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to stop here.
Thank you, Sadia, for sharing that. Building relationship has come over and over. So I will get directly to asking recommendations now, because we're talking about how do we sustain this? That is, the engagement, but also the collaboration. And I also want to mention that out of the 107 youth initiatives that have been mapped in the 10 countries part of the project, 68 of them have worked with either local government authorities or central government authorities. So that shows that there have been, a mix of collaboration. So I would go straight to Juka and ask for ways to sustain this. How do we sustain the collaboration between private sector CSOs, private sector, public sector, public sector, and CSOs? And that's the same question I'm going to ask all the panelists.
Okay, Aisha, I believe the best way to sustain this momentum is to understand our partnerships and understand the fact that wherever you go or whatever you do, you will need experts, because with us, for our company, we are 3D printing experts. That's what we know. But when we started working on coronavirus, we did not have any experience with biomedical engineering or medical devices or equipment that's used in medical health. So you will always need partners, and you will always need to keep those partnerships alive. This is one way you can definitely sustain the momentum. And then you can always have a plan. Coronavirus is here, but it will go away hopefully soon. We don't want it here forever. So what are the ways of making sure that you keep going? You had a plan before COVID, and COVID came and you jumped on it. And you started doing these things with coronavirus and providing solutions for everyone and yourself. So how do you keep that? So the idea of keeping the momentum is to always have something at the back of your mind. Always have a plan to move things forward, and to always keep the communication going on. Like Mar said, there is a lot of restrictions when it comes to communications between government and CSOs and individuals and the community at large. So we should keep on the communication and keep open up for, sorry, be transparent enough so everyone knows what is happening. And by doing this, we will be able to keep up the momentum and make sure we are always here, even after coronavirus, because we want it to go definitely.
Thank you, Juka. And I will move to Mwanzu.
My recommendation is very short and brief. I think young people are doing a lot of amazing work, and then a lot of beautiful and amazing initiatives died because of lack of the platforms, and then some of them die because they have no funding. My recommendation is I am calling on all the partners and donor agencies to look around how to create a safe space for young people, and fund maybe startup to be funded so that they can be able to scale up their initiatives. Because considering the fact that there is a lot of amazing initiatives in Africa, but because of lack of adequate funding and safe space, because I am 30 years old, but still people think of me as in the meetings and in maybe engagements, think of me as a kid or something like this, because there's a lot of stereotype that young people, especially in Nigeria, like their opportunities is very limited for them. So I think that we need to work around how to create a safe space for young people.
Thank you. I will move to Mar.
So for me, I believe in order for us to sustain this momentum post COVID-19, the way we are going to do this is to make sure that we empower citizens, and let's say empower our people or our communities with information regarding certain things that should be accessible to them. Like, for example, basic education, health, and amenities for them to be able to do subsistence. I mean, not only subsistence farming, but mechanical farming and the like. So we need to also we have to make them understand the gravity of things that are taken away from them. If government takes certain things from them, how serious that is going to be and how that's going to affect their life. So the civic education and engagement should be reinforced. Learning from the COVID-19 experiences, the way that we have been as civil society, media, and individuals, the way that we've been very cautious about this situation, and then making sure that you protect your neighbor, because everyone is being someone's keeper. If you are someone's keeper, you are in return saving your life. So it's a give and take. So as a result, post COVID-19, the things that really matters to us, right? We need to take them seriously, just like we take COVID-19, just like how we take COVID-19 seriously. So if communities are deprived from access to clinical services, then we have to take it seriously. Just imagine if you're in a pandemic, post-pandemic, just imagine that you are in a pandemic and the particular community does not have access to clinical services. So you have to use that particular lesson and then reinforce your advocacy, and then also collaborate with government, because the advocacy should not only be hostile to government and then holding government accountable is really important, but also empowering government with information and then following up on them, holding accountable on information that you have shared with them is also something that should be prioritized. So for me, I believe everyone have done their quota during this COVID-19, and then everyone is watching their neighbors, their family members, just to ensure that they are safe. And as a result, post COVID-19, I believe my recommendation is going to be the civil society and then the media will have to rethink the way we approach things. We also have to revisit the way we address issues. So if there is certain things, just like in the case of the Gambia, the government is very good at bearing the bad news, and the way they do things, I mean, something spark up on social media, it's trending in 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, there's government come with a new development, and it bears the bad news, and then we move on that. So it's not like that. And look at COVID-19, every single day is becoming discussion on top of the lips of everybody. So my recommendation is going to be that effective approach, effective ways in addressing issues that really matters to us, not only individually, but the communities that really matters.
Thank you. And I would like to give the opportunity to attendees or participants to ask questions and share contributions actually they have. If you want to speak, you can raise your hand. I'll unmute. I just want to remind you that we don't have much time, so if we can just go straight to the point, that will be. So this is Simon. Simon is one of the, he's part of the Oxfam, actually West Africa, which is the partner in this project with AfricTivistes. So Simon, you have the floor. I think we've lost Simon. Oh, Simon is here, but it seems his system actually is not working. While Simon sets up, resolve his technical issues, if we have any other person who wants to make a contribution, you can raise your hand and then I will unmute you. Simon?
Yes, hi. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I just wanted. I'm from Oxfam. I just want to say thank you very much for hosting these great talks. It was very inspiring. I mean, youth are so important in West Africa. You are the youngest population. West Africa is the youngest population in the world. So this is a great asset. My question is, as youth organizations, do you feel that you have a bigger influence in society now than before the COVID crisis? And are you more confident that when the crisis will pass, your influence or impact will stay? Or in a nutshell, has this COVID crisis been an opportunity? Do you feel that it has been an opportunity to create new spaces for you?
The question
This is for everyone who wants to answer.
Yeah, for all the panelists, and please make it short. So the question is for all the panelists. Who wants to go first?
I will just give a short one based on if you are to gauge our influence in communities. I believe the influence of civil society and then also individuals that carries key information to communities that have increased during this COVID-19. And then my justification is going to be the fact that the information that you're giving out is important in the livelihood of the people in this grassroots, especially those that are disconnected to the realities of the country. The moment you keep giving them this information and then keep keeping them updated about the things that they should do in order to protect themselves on COVID-19, that influence and then that trust and the confidence that the communities have upon you is increasing, because the more information that you give to them, if they are taking those information seriously and then seeing development in a sense that they are not being contacting COVID-19 and they're keeping safe, as a result of that, that is a manifestation that the information that you've been sharing with them is helpful, and as a result, that increases your influence in that particular community, and then also the trust and confidence that they will be built post COVID-19 as well will help that particular organization or individual to have a strong connection with that particular community.
Yeah, I think with the emergence of COVID-19 and moving the world moving from actually in-person activities to digital, maybe virtual activities, or this really add a lot of influence to young people. Now that in a country like Nigeria, before the key decision making is being happening by in person, and then young people are being sidelined. Now that everything is going be virtual, they understand that the young people has the ability to make a good decision making, and then it also creates an opportunity for young people to be able to provide innovative solutions that leaders and the people in the communities understand that these young people are really doing amazing things, and they can be able to do a lot of great things, and they can be able to be part of decision making. So emergence of COVID-19 has really increased the influence of young people in Africa.
Okay, to speak on that note, with the coming of the COVID-19, Here in the North, they see young people as you don't have the right to speak while the others are speaking. I mean, you don't have a say, you cannot contribute to that. So during the pandemic, we the young ones, I'm just 22. So we the young ones, we are the one going to communities, sensitizing communities about COVID-19. And beyond that, we are the one who taught community members who are just staying at home doing nothing on how to locally make hand sanitizer. Now, to think that local women in Kano State are making hand sanitizer and they are taking it to market, they're taking it to school, was just something that blew everything up. And everybody was like, young people are doing well, young people are doing amazingly well. So that has really built that trust and that relevance. Everybody see young people as being really relevant in the community.
Hi. So, add to what they said, like in Nigeria, us the young people, we are not before the coronavirus pandemic, we were not taking in too much of seriousness, because when I started my organization at the age of 14, people would say that what am I doing? Because it was like something that I'm not supposed to do, like as a girl child and as somebody who is 14 years old. So that was what made people like think of that way in a bad way. So, but then when the coronavirus came and hit us the young people, we were the ones who were going to people, sensitizing them about what these things are all about, the challenges that they are going to face, the challenges that we all face. Like the coronavirus made everybody to come together and fight for one common enemy, which was the virus, which has made us, all the young people, including those who think we can't do it, think that yes, these people are capable of holding the nation one day or the other. Thank you.
I would just love to quickly come in from a business perspective. And I want to say that always give young people the opportunity. Like, young people are in the country and they have great business ideas. For example, I use my company as an example. We were here and we were set, but coronavirus actually just disrupted our business, and we were able to get so much attention during COVID-19 because we were able to produce face shields as one of the most popular things we did during coronavirus, and that is because they could not get supplies from outside the country, so they had to source locally to see what's happening. So maybe if coronavirus did not happen and if the supply chain was not affected, they would not have paid attention to our business. So basically, this is a great opportunity for young people to show what they can do and what is possible within the local context. And most of the things that we use, let's say from the face shields to the local hand sanitizers to the face mask and even soap, locally made soap, they were made by young people in the Gambia. So always give young people opportunities before the pandemic comes, and you can see what they can do.
And yes, adding more to what she said, like here in Nigeria, about the economic impacts that this thing has made into our country, it has not impacted us in any way. But then look at it. Before in Nigeria, we would buy something. If they bring something from the localities, we won't buy it. We would rather go to somewhere where they bring foreign things to get from it. But then because of this virus that has hit us, we know now the importance of the local things we make, like the economy in Nigeria, because there is no way of export and importation. So that has made us to know the value of things that we make in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Actually, unfortunately, Musa Suley, we have lost him again because of connection issues. And I would want to thank every one of you, because we are running out of time. Before closing, I will just want to recall actually the recommendations that have come out of this discussion. And then I'll give the floor to Ima, who is from Oxfam, who is our partner. And then I'll give the floor to Oxfam and AfricTivistes will do the closing. Then I'll give the floor to Seydina Njai, who is the coordinator of these youth initiatives mapping. So I just want to remind that this webinar discussion we're having is part of online consultations we are doing as part of the mapping initiative. And also it's, the Mapping initiative actually is a project is to document and highlight what young people can do, but also look at the post-COVID perspective that we can have. And the recommendations you have given here are very valuable actually. And I want to just recall some of them. You mentioned understanding the partnership, that is the partnership between private, public and CSOs, the different partners, actually the different kind of partnership we can have. And keep the partnership alive is one of the ways that we can maintain this collaboration. And I want to highlight something that came repeatedly, that's the moving from ideas to action when you have funding, but also this situation, the COVID situation, has in a way forced leaders or countries to look inward, that is for local solutions to local problem. And also you have recommended less restrictions between different parties, that is in the relationship to further the collaboration, more transparency. And funding came quite a lot, because the ideas are here, but it's the funding opportunities and adequate funding opportunities that most of the time lack. And also break these preconceived ideas that young people are not ready to lead or are not ready to sit on the table. Or young people still need to be guided as if they, at 30, as Manzu said, you don't have, opinion or solutions. And I think it's Fatima or Sadia mentioned earlier that when they went to the community, they asked them what they wanted. And I think it's important for when working with young people to ask them what they want and not just come with ideas that you think this is what the youth wants. The youth already know what they want. They have ideas. They just want to have collaboration to be able to implement them. And also you recommended accountability and the need to revisit how issues are being addressed, and to maintain the relationship and give young people more opportunities. So I would like to give the floor to Ima. Ima is from Oxfam. Ima de Miguel Gonzalez is from Oxfam, and Oxfam West Africa actually is a partner in this project. So I'll give her the opportunity to give closing remarks, and then I'll give the opportunity to AfricTivistes to give closing remarks as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Aisha, for this opportunity and for this webinar. I think it was great to listen all of the participants and the panelists, and also the people that they were active in this pandemic. And I think that this is I think that we can see that the crisis is an opportunity, no? So yeah, it's great to see how young people takes this opportunity. And also that I think that the thing that is really interesting in the activities is that you work also with other actors. So as Aisha said, no, the partnership is very important, and the way to maintain these dynamics is to maintain this partnership and not to be fair to work with people that are really different to you, no? So yeah, thank you very much. It was great to listen to you.
Thank you, Ima, and thank you, Oxfam, for this partnership, actually collaborating with AfricTivistes to document this thing that once again shows that, the solutions are here. We just need to listen or look closer. So I'll give the floor now to Seydina Ndiaye, who is the coordinator of the AfricTivistes Youth Initiatives Mapping, to give closing remarks on behalf of AfricTivistes. Seydina.
Yes, thank you, Aisha. I don't know why you want me to do the closing, but I will try. So I will, before I go any further, thank you to the panelists. Special shout out to my Mandela Washington Fellow alumni. Of course, I'm going to do that, Aisha, Moazu, and Fatima. And also shout out to Mar. It's I don't know if you remember, we was together in Abuja for the with the UA. So it's good to see you and to hear from you what you are talking about. So as I just mentioned, I am Seydina. I am the coordinator of this project and of this program. As Aisha mentioned, and also as Imam mentioned, the main purpose of this mapping is to also, in the beginning, to have to do data collection and to map all the initiative and all the organization youth-led in Africa. The second one also is to create an online citizenship consulting framework where we can talk about our issues, where we can talk about how progress, where we can talk about how improvement into the Pan-African global scope. And the last one is the post-COVID projection, which is literally how youth can be more involved in decision-making process through partnership with public sector and private sector. And I think what is coming through when it's come to emphasize is the youth was involved. I read a lot of documents from the beginning of the COVID and from now. And the narrative is start switching where people are just saying youth in Africa innovative, youth in Africa more involved when it's come to civic engagement, when it's come to social transformation, all this kind of stuff. Now the next step is to have the youth in terms of representation in public sector, in private sector, and etc. And thank you again, Aisha, for setting up this one, and thank you also to all the panelists and all the participants that we have, and big shout out to Ima and Simon, our partner from Oxfam. And thank you again, Aisha. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, everyone. I want to actually thank all the panelists that have, taken the time. I know all of you are busy. All of you are attending different or participating in different webinars, which of course with COVID, it's the norm. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your collaboration. This is just the beginning of a conversation that will continue further. And, just want you to continue following. In the coming weeks, we will publish the report on the initiatives that have been mapped. And there's a lot of lessons actually that can be learned from that. And Sadie actually is very proud of this program because this is documenting for the future and, documenting all these great things that are being done, which can be shown as proof actually, instead of young people still be considered and children that need to be baby stepped to be, considered as babies, but just show, authorities or whoever that things are happening and can happen. And we all have a role to play, be it the public sector, the private sector, and the civil society organizations and the media, because when we come together, actually, we are able to provide solutions. And AfricTivistes, actually, we believe that young people can build the Africa they want with solutions from here, because the knowledge is here, the ideas are here, the opportunities for funding are not many, but people are still trying to make things happen. So thank you very much for your participation. I am very, very grateful for your time and for your contribution, the valuable ones. And thank you to our partner, Oxfam West Africa. Thank you, and this ends here. Bye, until the next webinar.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, and let actually Sedina do a screenshot of the panel. If everyone can put their camera on. Simon, let me, Sedina, wait, we will add Simon. I think Ima just signed out. So Sedina, you can do the screenshot of the panel. You done? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.